The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Happy Friday, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, Christy Scales. Ladies, what's up?
We match again.
We
That's
did,
cute.
yeah. Happy Friday.
We matched
They
on
didn't
Tuesday.
get the memo.
Yeah,
They didn't get the memo.
We matched on Tuesday now. Again.
Really?
I'm slipping in the polls.
Wow. Y'all didn't match.
Slipping in the polls? What do you mean?
It's just a saying. Like I'm slipping.
Why are you sad?
Who said?
Why are you slipping in the polls?
Right?
Why are you making me say that, first of all?
That's crazy. That's crazy work.
What? Huh?
I'm slipping in the polls.
I'm not slipping in the polls. I was saying that
You
I
just
wasn't on
said
par
that.
with the outfit coordination.
I mean, technically, because I got on sweats. You got on sweats.
Yeah, that is true.
So I'm slipping.
It's all right. You ain't slipping. Slipping on your pimping.
Can you
Ever.
please?
Haha, see what I did there? All right,
I
ladies.
will not say that.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Don't think I want you to say that at all. All right, before we dive into this matchup, Cowboys kick off against the Commanders at noon on Sunday. First, we got to show some love to Tyler Smith. We haven't talked about him much all season long, so I felt like it was only appropriate to do that because, one, of course, the last meeting against the Commanders, the Cowboys' offensive line had a lot of success. Hello, Tyler Smith. Huge part of that. And, of course, with the Pro Bowls announced as well this week. So 5 Cowboys are going to the Pro Bowl. That's Michael Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Aubrey, Kavontae Turpin, and Tyler Smith. What have y'all just loved from Tyler Smith all season long? Who wants to start?
His humility, his approach to the game. He's very studious and love the way he is always accessible, talks to the media, and very respectful. But to do what he's done at such a young age, I believe, first guard to have 2 Pro Bowls by age 23. That's incredible.
Oof.
Because in the trenches, that is a man's game. And especially when you play the interior like that, unless you're Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball who went to 10 straight Pro Bowls coming out as a defensive tackle for the Rams. I mean, that is a tough place to apply your craft. And I love what he said about to the media on Thursday about talking with Zach Martin and how Zach said that, it's like the next step, right? And it's a stair step for where you want to be in your career. And I think that Tyler takes those lessons truly to heart and follows it off the field and on the field.
He's coachable. He's such a coachable guy, and he's so pleasant to be around, like you said, Christy, for media, but also for teammates, everybody. Like, it's truly hard to find anything bad to say about Tyler Smith, even on his worst, right? Like, during his worst games, he's still putting his all out there, always putting in an effort. He's always the guy that you see helping his teammate up off the ground. Man, he has come such a long way since his rookie season, and it has just been a joy to watch. So excited for him. 2 Pro Bowls so far, and I feel like a whole lot more to come. So congratulations.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that gets the. I think we kind of talk about it with Micah, where we don't mention him as much because you expect him to play well. And one thing that stands out to me about when you talk about his career so far is the consistency. And I think when he spoke to Zach Martin, that's probably what Zach Martin was speaking to him about is you can play. We know you can play. How consistent can you be? And when you look at his pass blocking numbers, when you look at his run blocking numbers, it's every year he is steady Eddie or he's getting better in certain places. Coming into the league, I mean, the most penalized offensive lineman in that draft coming into the game. Everyone was worried about his hands. He's been nothing but, to your point, Jess, and to your point, Christy, coachable, flexible, very open to do whatever he needs to be for the team. And with this offensive line, he and Terrence still have been the only constants.
Yeah.
That's difficult to navigate, because that's a unit. That unit is such an important unit. Him being the constant and Terrence still being the constant, it's hard to be the foundational player because they set the standard. And now he's setting the standard, and I'm sure he takes seriously the mantle kind of being passed and all those things. What's up? Oh, yeah. So, oh no. So anyway, I'm really happy to see his growth as well, ladies. And to your point, Christy, they drafted him because your opponents in your division have players on their interior that are good. And he's come in, and when you watch when they play a Jalen Carter, when they play a Davis, like he's you never can take those stars away. Yeah. But those players would be so much more impactful if you did not have a guy like that to be able to go in there and wrestle with them. So very proud of him, and I don't want to take him for granted. Like you said, I'm glad you wanted to talk about him today.
Yeah, and if I could just add one more thing, because we haven't really talked about it. It hadn't gotten much media attention since his rookie year. But 7 years ago, he was in a hospital bed in Fort Worth. At age 16, diagnosed with Blount's disease, which basically, they basically had to break his leg. It's bow-leggedness, right?
My
and
uncle
so
did that.
had to do, and so he's 16 years old. And he couldn't even, it's a pediatric hospital, but he had to be on a grown person's table because he was over 300 pounds, and so, and not even being able to play high school football, and just, instead of feeling sorry for himself or, oh, woe is me, and he comes back the next year and has a good season and earns himself a college scholarship and ultimately a first-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys. But it's an inspiring story, and he's an inspiring young man.
For sure. And I love how the fact that no matter the loss, no matter the wins, no matter Tyler Guyton struggling his first couple of weeks, and really throughout the season, he's always positive, always uplifting those guys because he remembers, he's very vocal about that. He remembers that he was just there in 2022. So I do love that about Tyler Smith. But let me ask y'all something. Do y'all feel like this offensive line, with the state of where it's at right now and the amount that it's improved the past couple of weeks, do you feel like if Tyler Smith was out at left tackle and Zach Martin's still out, still injured, do y'all feel like this offensive line would be where it's at if Tyler Smith was out at left tackle and you had somebody else fill in at left guard?
Who? In your hypothetical.
That would be it'd be
hypothetical?
Yeah, in your hypothetical, who?
This year it would have been what, Adoga or Bass, right?
So do y'all feel like this offensive line would be where it's at right now?
No, I
With
think
Tyler
it's
Smith
better.
at left
I think
tackle.
it's better with when you look at the way that they've been able to run the ways they're running the ball.
Yeah.
It's a lot of inside zone. They're using him to trap and do stuff like you can do some of that stuff at tackle, but what he's able to do at guard, where they're like pulling him behind the formation and stuff, he's special. He's an athlete. What he can do looping around and coming downhill is really to like make contact with people. It's not, everyone can't do it.
Yeah.
So being a tackle, I think he would be fine, but you're, like I just mentioned, like your opponents are heavy, are strong in the middle. So to get weaker in the middle, I think it would have, I'm serious. Like if you go back and watch the Philly film, it would, and he got whooped a couple times, but he whooped them a couple times. It would be so much worse. Look, I'm just being straight up with
that's
you.
valid.
And we're gonna see it this week with Washington. They have a good interior too. He was drafted to be able to beat those guys, and I think the interior is where he plays his best ball. I think this is the best off. The way it's been orchestrated is probably your best five, right?
What y'all think?
I mean, I think he has position flex, but I don't think you need to see it.
We've honestly
saw it.
He can do it.
We've seen it too much.
He can do it. You just don't need to see it. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's where I sit on that, and I will stay right there.
I
on
don't
that
blame
hill.
you, girl.
See that hill right there? I'm gonna buy property. I'm gonna live there. I will die there.
Oh my gosh.
Just
No.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But truly, you need the strong interior, to Aisha's point, to be successful in this, I guess, life you now have in the run game. And, I also feel like the sense of consistency of just having people in the same place, if you can, injuries, void from that conversation because they happen. Yeah, you don't really need to mess with it. It's fine as it is. You're good.
Yeah, I totally agree, and especially to Aisha's point about the strength and division with the interior of the lines that you go against.
All right. We've got our practice report. Y'all want to hear it?
Yeah.
We do.
Y'all know this is a good one.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I already saw it and I went.
Yeah. All right, questionable. Well, sorry. Questionable. Chuma Edoga, Mozzie Smith, Nick Vigil, and Donovan Wilson. Thoughts? Let's start with Donovan Wilson.
Ain't nobody been marked out yet.
Just
questionable.
Kevon Hill.
Yeah,
Paul, sorry.
I expect to see a lot of Wanye Thomas, whether or not Donovan Wilson plays. So Donovan didn't finish the game last week with a knee injury that was early in the fourth quarter, I believe. And so, you know exactly what you have in Donovan Wilson. Wanye, it was his first game back since the Thanksgiving Day knee injury that Wanye suffered. So I am happy with giving this game to Wanye.
Any details on the Dono injury?
Well, it was a knee in the fourth quarter, and so
severity?
the severity.
I'm talking about deep, but probably not because it's so late in the season.
Yeah.
Like
It's
it's his knee hurt. That's it.
yeah.
That's what
Period.
Basically.
Yeah, but the fact that it's questionable and not out,
That's
more doubtful.
but it's
Yeah.
one of those things that doubtful would be even worse. Just
That's
so
what
you
I
know,
meant to ask.
out is 100% you're out. Doubtful is if there's 75% chance that you're out. Questionable means you're literally 50-50.
Come on, percentages.
That's how the league.
All right, math.
That's how it's listed, and every team has to turn in the practice report at the end of practice Wednesday and Thursday, and then come with the game status on Friday. So out, doubtful, questionable. So anyway, again, I'd rather see Wanye. I know what I have in Dono.
Yeah. For me personally, those names that you're talking, Mozzie jumps out to me because he has been on a slow and steady uphill and up
I was
climb.
gonna get to Mozzie.
I'm sorry, but
Oh, muffin.
retweet what Christy said about Dono. Like, it is the last game. Why not see Wanye? Like, we've been wanting to see more Wanye in this system, and now with the Micah Parsons back in and, things kind of coming together for the defense, I do want to see a little more Wanye. So, okay, I'll hold my comments about Mozzie. Aisha, what do you have to say about Dono and Wanye?
What Wanye dealing with it? With PCL?
Come on. You said Wanye?
Wanye.
It was his knee.
It was a knee on Thanksgiving.
Yes, ma'am.
But he was able to play last week.
No, I saw
and
him
he-
play. I saw him play. I wanted to make sure I understood what he's been going through this season. I mean, again, like we're gonna see. Well, I don't know who said. I think Jordan Lewis was like the young guy's been playing. It's not. I mean, we've seen the depth of our team kind of stretched thin. So I don't know if we're gonna see a whole bunch of new faces on the field for Sunday's game. But yeah, it's just. I expected for this game for us to see some guys that maybe we hadn't seen, or so if him coming in and to fill in for Dono, I think will give us an idea because I've been kind of, we have been asking for a little bit more of him.
What's Wanye got to prove?
I don't know if he has to prove anything, but it is important for him to do to just play well. Talk about the coaching staff. Wanye is an undrafted free agent. He's always trying to prove himself, I'm sure, in his mind. So this will give him a chance to get some real-time reps and see how things go.
Yeah, and he hasn't gotten a lot of defensive snaps in this system. So
special
if
teams.
Zimmer it has been mostly special teams. So if he's able to get a lot of game time snaps in this system, if Zimmer and this defense are back next year, that could be really valuable for Wanye.
Yeah.
No, we can go to Mozzie Smith now.
Thank you.
Go, Jess.
It's no shade to Wanye. Like, Wanye knows I want to see more of him. Like, come on. We all know that. I'd like to say Wanye.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways,
She has something wrong with her.
Literally.
Wanye.
The puns.
About Mozzie.
Yeah.
The confidence, it's been a silent confidence from him, and that's what I really have enjoyed seeing is you saw a guy from training camp who just started out deflated, like let's call it what it was, and then he slowly started to grow a little bit despite the shoulder and the back, and it got to the point where we talked about it earlier in the season. He had even told me, like, I'm sick of people saying I'm depressed and I'm down and out, like I'm fine, it just takes time. And then since then you haven't heard about Mozzie because he's been doing his job. He's been, doing what he can do with what he has, given the injuries back and forth on the line as well. So for me, I really want to see Mozzie's all in this last game because, again, to me, where you end this season is kind of where you start back up next season. And I really want him to end it on a high note, given if it's for the best intention that he is out for the game because of an injury. so be that too. But I think for a guy like Mozzie, any kind of confidence you can get from any kind of play goes a long way, and it is valuable.
I mean, he know who he playing against. I mean, Tyler Biotish is having one of the best seasons, arguably the best season of his career.
Yeah.
And, you know.
He enjoys it in Washington. He does. He enjoys playing in Washington. He plays for Dan. And again, we all know this all too well. They ride for Dan over there. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think more so I was mentioning, like, I think the competition between those two is interesting because they've seen each other in practices. They've seen each other around. So I think seeing that, obviously you mentioned Mozzie on an upward trajectory, Jess, and him playing better than you have Tyler Biotish having his best years. We'll get a real look-see at, you know, what that looks like competition-wise. And as far as Mozzie goes, you just see more. I hope I'm okay. I think his conditioning's better. I think the motor is better. Like, if you see him, the pursuit to the ball. What?
Tyler Biotish is listed as doubtful.
Oh,
for the game.
Yeah, he's been on the injury report all week.
For an ankle.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and they're not going to risk him going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
so.
he's too big, so maybe not going to see that.
Yeah.
But I do think with as far as Mozzie goes, I think his pursuit to the ball, his motor's been better. He's a lot more patient. I think he's reading the defense better, and I'm really hoping that he can continue to grow going into next season. I really hope that they invest in putting a veteran, another veteran out there for him to continue to learn that position and to get better, because the other guys around him are paying dividends for his better play. Like Oso Odigizua and him probably. Like when Osa get paid, he might have to look over at the youngin and say, thank you, I appreciate you, because he really helped him in taking on double teams. Osa at the beginning of the season was getting double teamed in almost 50% of the snaps. As Mozzie began to play better, people were like, okay, we got to account for this guy, and that's freed up the rest of the gentlemen on the defensive line.
And we don't talk about the high motor for Mozzie, and obviously taking up double teams, but he's been making some run stops as well. Like just being able to bounce off of tackles and play the run. I think that's been something that's been really impressive. Do y'all feel like what area do you feel like Mozzie grew the most in?
His get off. When he got here,
slow to
when he got here, his stance was. These guys in college, like those coaches are different. They're coaching them different things, and his stance and the way he was coming off the ball was just not fast enough. He was so late that's why he was losing reps the way he was last year. This year he's firing off that ball, using that explosiveness, because this is an athlete. He's an athlete. Seeing him pop off the ball, that's probably the biggest difference that I've seen in him. And even with that, not being late to the punch has helped him be a better player this year. So that little tweak has made him be better this year.
Yeah, you're defeated. You're defeated if you are slow off the ball.
Yes,
late on the snap, basically.
What you got?
I'm going to go confidence. I know that sounds very cliche, but man, guys, this is night and day. And what I always refer back to is Jonathan Hankins. We remember you so fondly
Uncle
over
Hank.
here. We remember you so fondly. He would talk a lot about how long it actually takes to grow as a nose tackle in this league, and not only grow your skill set from what you learned in college, to your point, but also the confidence and understanding of what a true nose tackle is in the NFL, because he always pointed out it's very different. And so when I would ask him, when he was still here, obviously, what he needed to see from Mozzie, or how long it even took him in his own career and other nose tackles he'd been around to really grow, he said it took about 3 years. So that's why I'm very interested in Mozzie's year 3 jump, because I think that's going to be one of the most defining for him. But also the confidence building that he has done personally, and that this coaching staff, I think, has poured into making sure is growing, has really been night and day compared to where he was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it takes mental fortitude. It's training camp feels so far away. Dude,
Right around the corner.
They coached him hard.
Yeah.
They coached him hard, and it's not easy for a player to be getting and again, they're doing it because they see the potential in him. They see it with Coach Sagina, is this Sagina?
Skanina.
I always want to spell it wrong. Yes, my cream puffs.
No, my spinach puffs.
But no, they have been, Greg Ellis, those guys came in. Obviously, they knew the year he had last year, and they knew they were going to have to dig really deep to pull him out of that and to restore his confidence and to make him help him understand. And I feel like to take that on, as Jess was saying, to deal with taking hard coaching. I mean, most coaches want to be coached hard, but the coaching he was getting was a little more in a good way, but in a little more. And I think for him to take that on, he's just done his job this year. He's been real low key, and you just see every week the film's getting better. It says something to his character, and I agree, Jess. I think that's a valid point to mention the confidence in him being built and him coming back from that.
How much do you feel like bringing in Linval Joseph also played a role in that as well?
Sure, you have a veteran to.
I mean, to have a rotation.
Yeah,
you need
that's
just
more so what I was leaning towards.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Because it was really only him and Justin Rogers.
Yeah, you need these guys are big guys. Their motors, like you might meet some nose tackles who have motors that are higher than normal, but they're not. They shouldn't be on the field the whole game. You have to have depth. That's why the Cowboys' defensive line in past years was successful. So bringing in Linval Joseph, of course, gave Mozzie a little bit more breathing room. And I'm sure he's giving him some tips and stuff as well. Sure.
Yeah, Mozzie's at 48% of snaps this year, and defensive snaps, and that's a lot for a defensive tackle.
Yes, ma'am.
And you mentioned Justin Rogers, and I'm glad that name came up because I'm very interested to see if he gets on the field this weekend. I think he will. I know what I have in Linval Joseph.
Yeah.
Now, Justin Rogers, if that name sounds familiar, he was the 7th-round pick, the rookie.
Auburn.
But they waived him at the end of camp. He ends up signing with the Bengals. He's on their practice squad all year, and then the Cowboys signed him off of the Bengals practice squad a week and a half ago. So he could have played last week. He's on the 53-man roster, but he was a game day inactive last week. I think that he's going to be active this week. This is just an educated guess.
Okay.
But this is a kid. They obviously liked him if they drafted him. They bring him back for depth. They, sign him back off of the Cincinnati practice squad. This is the perfect kind of game. Give this kid some reps so that you know what you have in regular season action. That I think that Troy Pride Jr., who's the cornerback who's on the practice squad, educated guess. If you don't sign him to the 53-man roster, elevate him from the practice squad, I think he's going to play a lot this game because I don't think we're going to see more of Andrew Booth unless there's an emergency.
Since we're taking educated guesses, what y'all think about Deuce Vaughn?
I was going to say educated guess. I'd say Dalvin Cook.
No, I don't know.
I would say guess.
Yeah.
I would say less educated, just more guess.
But Deuce is already on the 53-man roster. So Deuce has been a game day inactive. You don't have to elevate him. And even though it's the last regular season game, the rules still apply in that you can only elevate 2 players for the game. So I think it'll be Pride, and I think Will Greer is going to be elevated, and I think Will Greer is going to back up Trey Lance in this game.
Whoa!
I think Trey Lance is going to start.
Whoa!
I think Trey Lance is going to start.
Okay, Scoop.
Oh, dang.
On that note, we're going to take our first break.
Yeah.
Okay,
Up
good.
next,
That's a good
can
guess.
explain,
Stir the pot. Stir the pot.
Up
a
next,
fun guess.
I need y'all to think about this. What's one thing that the Cowboys can take away from Week 12 offensively against Washington that they can carry into Sunday? We're going to be right back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk.
Barnacles.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Nation, Amanda Foster has been named your 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan for her dedication to the team and spicing up the game. Vote for Amanda to be named the Ultimate NFL Fan of the Year at NFL.com/fan of the year. Go
Vote
right
for
now.
Amanda.
Now.
Right now. Don't
Amanda,
wait.
Amanda,
Don't
Amanda,
procrastinate.
Amanda,
We do it
Amanda,
right
Amanda.
now. All right.
Yeah.
Back to my question before the break. What can the Cowboys take offensively that they did well against Washington in Week 12 and carry that in to Sunday?
They did a good job protecting the ball. They had lost one fumble, but they won the turnover battle in that game. And that was the game in which CeeDee Lamb had the 10 catches. I mean, overall, it was a good job in the air in the passing game. Jalen Brooks had a big catch in that game, so I would think that would be something, get the young receivers involved, and let's see if Jalen Brooks can end the season on a high note.
Good carryover. I have 4 words for you. Don't dawdle that man. Rico Dowdle. That's what went well. That's what has continued to go well. I want to continue to see a little bit more of him in this final game because, again, he is going to be a free agent this upcoming offseason. So, look, give that man a chance to continue playing for a good contract deal, whether that's here somewhere else, and I don't even want to think about that. But it is a real possibility. I want to continue to see a good run game in this game. Yeah. And mostly, even if you do a 1-2 punch approach like we were talking about, you have a Deuce Vaughn, you have a Dalvin Cook on the practice squad, whatever the case is, I just want to see more run game, specifically with Rico as your lead back.
Yeah, I mean, they came out of, if I'm not mistaken, they had some aggression to them as well. I mean, put up, 34 points that game, one of their highest scoring games of the year. I just feel like they had a plan that game. It's one of the few games where I was like, oh, okay. Like, you could tell that they put preparation into what they wanted to do against Washington. They also felt like they could take advantage of Washington's secondary as well. Cooper Rush at 254 yards, 47 yards on the day. So they decided to toss the ball around a little bit more as well. I believe it was one of the more balanced games we've had with run and pass. Do that. Do it again.
Yeah,
Why
and
not?
special teams. You had Kevontae Turpin, who gave them a couple of short fields. They didn't have to really drive down the field. I won't say all the time. But no, I think that I had to go back and look at my notes on that game and the way that they bounced back too. The blocked field goal, the first possession of the game, Washington goes and scores, or they have a field goal, and then you see obviously they weren't able to finish drives. However, they were moving the ball very well. They led in time of possession. That was something that also stood out as well. So that's something that I feel like they could carry over. But the tight ends, Luke Schoonmaker had a big game that game. Can we talk about it?
Yeah,
we
we
see
can.
much from these tight ends.
Don't get me started. We only have 10, 15 minutes left in this. There's not enough time for me to go into that.
What do y'all want to see from the tight end room?
More.
Yeah, more opportunities.
Okay. More.
And especially if it's not Cooper Rush, if it's again, I think it's going to be Trey Lance and maybe even some Will Greer. I think that tight end is a safer throw generally, and let's use them.
Isn't that crazy if it's Trey Lance and Will Greer, considering how the full circle came literally back around?
That is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
I was about to say, wasn't there another player that went to, it was Will Greer. You just mentioned Justin Rogers, the Bengals. There was another player, I felt like. Where did Jabril Cox go at first?
Jabril I think might have been Washington. I'll look it up.
Was it
real quick.
Washington, the Bengals? Let me just find out the Bengals over here paying attention to. Get out of my business.
Well,
You may
you
be
know the
right, it may have
Commanders
been.
are for sure. So there you go.
Mind your business.
To answer more of your question about the tight ends, because
It was Washington.
there you
Jabril
go.
Cox.
Oh,
Yeah.
shocking.
No.
Shocking. Dan. That man. No, you want to see more. And to be fair, the injuries and the offensive line struggles, yes, you're going to see less of your tight end usage in the receiving game. But look, I hate to say I'm disappointed. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'm very disappointed in the amount of, I guess, talk that we got this season and the lack of action and getting the tight ends finally involved more. Given Jake Ferguson's been dealing with a stretch of his injuries throughout the course of the season. But, I mean, truly, like, you're going into this offseason with the question mark of, really, who is your full tight end room other than Jake Ferguson? Yes, you have a Luke Schoonmaker. Yes, you have a Brevin Spanford. But, truly, like, who's your number two? You still have so many question marks. And so, for me, to my point earlier about, like, ending the season on a high note, this could be what gets your foot in the door to get noticed is, hey, maybe this guy gets a little more reps come off-season workouts or whatever the case is. So, I don't know. I just want to see more.
Man, she's being nice.
Yeah.
This tight end room is really you're so kind.
I mean,
I appreciate you being kind, but
it's disappointing.
No, you're right. Yeah, I was like, let's say it with your chest, sister. It's been disappointing. Your tight ends. If they're not prepared, it affects your run game, it affects your pass game, and it just hasn't been consistent enough, outside of Jake Ferguson. And I'm sure, in fairness, it does put stress on Jake Ferguson to be out there every play. The Cowboys have found a lot of success in 11 personnel with Jake Ferguson out there. You are limited to your formations, to the looks you can do, to the stuff you can do when your tight ends are not holding up their end of the bargain. And I do think that these guys, I will say with Schoonmaker, Brevin Spanford, when Ferg first went out, they did step up. But then as soon as he got back, it was disappearing again. And I'm not saying, like, I will say too, it's going to be important for Mike McCarthy as well to figure out how to
them involved,
to have a more of an emphasis to include his tight ends, because I feel like when he was at Green Bay, he did.
Oh, yeah. He did.
But here in Dallas, it has been very wide receiver driven. And so for me, I'm like, how can we figure out ways to, we look at Philly, we look at these other teams, they use tight end screens, they find creative ways. They use their tight ends to come trap as an extra blocker and slip them through the formation and get big plays. This room did disappoint me, and you could have used them with the lack of receiving. If you had your tight ends be better, it would have taken pressure off of your wide receivers as well. So that room is definitely going to have to look themselves in the mirror, figure some things out. There is room for development still from some of those guys, but it has been a disappointing year from them. It just has.
Is this the game to do that? Because you look at how when they went into that game in Week 12, they were 4-7. Pretty much nothing to lose at that point. Now, no playoffs, still nothing to lose at this point. Is this a game to really just say, F it,
maybe
and try it?
Probably. You don't. And with Jake Ferguson, he's been dealing with obviously different things. I definitely want to see him play, but if they tell him to sit down, I ain't gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Like
we know what we have in Jake Ferguson. He doesn't have to prove it. I know that he would like to end the season on a high note. It has been a disappointing season for him and for the whole wide receiver core. But I'd rather see more of Brevin Spanford, and Luke Schoonmaker needs to end on a high note too.
I agree.
Because a second round pick, you need more for them from them 2 years into their career.
Yes, ma'am.
Agreed.
Yes, ma'am.
Good point. All right, we're gonna take our second break because we have 10 minutes left in our show. Up next, we're gonna talk a little bit more of Trey Lance because I feel like we touched on it a little bit yesterday, but we got to dive a little bit deeper into Trey Lance, possibly.
There's more to say.
That's you stirring the pot. Look.
Absolutely.
It was slow.
It wouldn't be me or Christy if we didn't, right? All right, we'll be right back with more Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Do it for confidence on and off the field. Do it for you. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Don't wait. Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Hot mix waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take your steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes and next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Walter Payton Man of the Year Award presented by Nationwide recognizes players who do so much more both on and off the field and around the community. Help Dallas Cowboys nominee Zach Martin raise funds for the National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation by casting your charity challenge vote on NFL.com/Man of the Year or tweet your support using the hashtag WPMOY challenge. Voting ends on January 6th, which is in 3 days, so go vote. For Zach.
Go vote for Zach. They have a lot of guys getting some awards. Well, Zach Martin, hopefully he gets the award, but Jordan Lewis got the good guy award.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
And then the Mariano Overshown got the I just saw
Ed Block Courage Award.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which is for coming back from a very serious injury the year before, and that's voted upon by staff and peers, so that's a really cool thing. It's actually an award that all of the teams vote on, the Ed Block Courage Award, and then there's a big banquet at the end of the year, and it honors the training staffs of all the NFL teams. And so, like the Cowboys staff, was it 2 or 3 years ago, they won for best training staff for the entire league. And anyway, it's a really cool thing. And the Good Guy Award for Jordan Lewis, that's voted on by the local media members. And so it's accessibility.
Yeah.
And a guy like Jordan Lewis is a guy that is in front of his locker and answers every question, win, lose, draw, and gives really great answers too, not just sound bites, but very thoughtful answers, and you can learn a lot about the game if you listen to Jordan Lewis.
He's always at his locker with an iPad watching film, and then you can go up to him and be like, "Hey, J-Lo, do you have time to talk?" We'll always say yes. I've never seen Jordan Lewis turn down anybody to talk and
it's like talking
be
to
honest.
A cousin. Like when I talk to him, it's like talking to a cousin.
Yeah.
Just like, "What's up, man?" Like it's very down to earth, and he's taught me a lot about my film. He reassures my film. He tells me where I'm getting something wrong and stuff. It's invaluable.
That's a lot of these guys in the locker room. They're very, very helpful when it comes to teaching moments, for sure. Gotta love this locker room. They're great people. All right, real fast. Trey Lance. I know. I have to start the pot a little bit.
Okay.
Chrissy started it, not me. All right.
She did.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, I said I think he's going to start.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to play a lot, whether he starts or not. And I'll tell you what I want to see from Trey Lance, and it's the same thing that I said before the final preseason game where we knew he was going to play the whole game, and that is at the end of the day, I want him to not lead the team in rushing. Because I want him to, go through his reads and have enough time, enough good pass protection, have the receivers run good enough routes and give, enough of a window that he's throwing the ball and not tucking the ball and running with it.
That's so fair.
So that's what I want to see from Trey Lance.
You know what I don't want to see?
What?
I don't want to see 5 interceptions.
Yeah, as if in what happened in that preseason game.
I do not want to see it. Granted, it was a different offensive line.
Yeah,
different offensive line and the receivers that are no longer with the team.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Do y'all have confidence, though? We talked about the stakes that are high for all the quarterbacks yesterday, but I want to know about the confidence level that y'all have in Trey Lance because he hasn't played a lot of snaps. You've seen him in the preseason. Completely different skill players that he had, running back, just different weapons that he had to use. Where's the confidence level in him?
Hey, as a former teacher, the grade is incomplete. What do we have to go from?
Yeah, I ain't got
confidence comes from demonstrated ability, and he really hasn't, other than that extended play in preseason, that game with the 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
Confidence comes from demonstrated ability, and we haven't seen it yet because the kid hasn't played in a regular season game since week 2 of 2022 when he broke his ankle.
I'm circling C down. I'm circling C down my Scantron. That's how sure I am.
The C. What the C was on the Scantron?
No, they used to say to just do C when you didn't know.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
I
don't remember that.
Statistically,
I thought we were
that
supposed
was
to
the
do
most
patterns. Oh, man,
told you that?
no wonder I didn't do well on
No,
the
seriously,
Scantron.
I'm the same
Not
way.
the Scantrons.
I'm the same way. I wish I knew more information about him.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate that we have to talk about him like this. I hate that we have to talk, and then we got to do it. But I hate that I don't.
No.
I love evaluating, and I can't.
Yeah.
And that's why it's the frustrating thing about the film. So I agree with you, Christy. I do want to see him stand in the pocket and throw the ball around more. I don't want to just take away his running ability all the way around, but that's the part that you want him to improve on. So my confidence level is like we just here.
What I will say
What you got?
is if he is set up for success, it's on him. If he has his good run game going, tight ends are involved, your wide receivers who he should have been getting snaps with pretty much this whole season, because he's taking those second snaps now that Cooper Rush is in for Dak, right? He's been getting more of those practice snaps, which Christy always talks about being just so valuable, but also so limited. You've had the connection with those receivers. You've had the connections with those tight ends. You've had the connection, potentially with some of these guys you could see on the offensive line. So for me, what you put out there is kind of what you are at this point. If he's set up for success, which he should be, we'll see. There's no confidence level because we don't know. It's a big question mark.
What do you want to see from him, Nicole?
Yeah. What's your
I
confidence
said what I
level?
don't want to
You're
see.
asking us.
I said what I don't want to see. What I do want to see
Yeah.
is for him to just go out there and ball the hell out. Because watch my words quite carefully. He hasn't been given a lot of opportunity in the regular season to show what he can do. We've seen his mobility, the way that he's able to throw the ball in the preseason. He had a hell of a training camp. I want him to go out there and just play that. Play like there's nothing at stake. I know that's kind of hard for these guys, specifically that are on contracts, but you have nothing to lose at this point. Just go out there, show what you can do. If you don't get picked up by the Cowboys again next year, hopefully he plays well enough to get picked up by somebody else. That's all I care about.
And to that point, this could, if he is starting, we don't know. I would like to preface that again. We don't know. This could be what determines what happens for him next. Because there's not a lot of film, if
for him.
any, for people to go off of. This could be what determines next steps for his career, whether that's here, there, anywhere, I don't know. And yeah, it's hard not to play with that kind of weighing on your shoulders, but hell, use it as fuel. Use it as fuel to have the best game of your career because it's been a long time coming for him to get an opportunity. So I feel like if it comes, he's going to either utilize it to the best he can, or you just kind of see how he handles pressure.
Yeah, and he's not the only one that this this could be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this can determine your career. This one game. So these people who say, they're not playing for anything, it just galls me. It's the same thing as preseason. And Tyler Smith said something the other day, yesterday, when he was talking about the Pro Bowl, but he said that Brandon Cooks talked to the team this week about respecting the game.
Yeah.
And meaning it is all out.
Yeah.
Whether you are a 10-year veteran, whether you are a guy like Trey Lance literally playing for your career, or, a guy like Micah, who, of course, is going to have a wonderful career moving forward. Respect for the game.
Yeah.
And it's the number one thing. So I hope that fans and media show the same amount of respect.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's good.
Because it's been difficult, like with the season being the way that it's been, is to remind people, which is ironic, by the way. Yes, I'm looking in the camera. That these are human beings who have lives, who have to provide for themselves, that have aspirations, that have set goals for themselves in this career, their careers, to remind them, like, hey, they're playing for more than your appeasement.
Yeah, and the coaches, too.
Yeah.
Every coach on this staff, this could be their very last game with the Cowboys. And by the way, their kids are older than the kids of the players. They're in school.
Very true.
And
Talk about it.
yeah,
It's a lot.
This is an important game.
Yes, ma'am.
And not to mention, it's not like Washington is just some easy feat game.
And they trying to win.
Like, they are.
need seeding.
Whether and you know what, they're going to try to stay healthy. And who honestly wants to go into the playoffs losing their last regular season game?
Well, and also if you're
just not.
and if you're the 7th seed, good luck. Have fun going to Minnesota or Detroit.
Exactly.
Good luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. They still have something to play for. So it's not just an easy feat, even if Trey or any of the other guys playing. If you win this game, it does more than you think it does.
I can't believe
We
how
listen and we don't judge.
the NFC North is.
Before I forget, because I will forget.
I can't believe
'Kay.
how good the NFC North is,
Crazy.
y'all.
It's fun to watch.
Go ahead.
We listen and we don't judge.
We listen and we don't.
1, 2, 3.
We listen and we don't judge.
Who's going first?
You,
I went first yesterday. Nope.
Aisha. Nose goes.
Oh, my hands
Aisha.
is like tucked. Like I put my hands down here. Y'all wrong.
You got it.
That's why I did
We
it.
listen and we don't. What's the topic?
No matter.
Anything.
Game. It could be Cowboys or Washington.
All right.
Bold statement.
I already said it already. I think Brandon Aubrey's gonna kick his
did say that.
69 yarder.
That was
I stole.
dang.
I stole.
Okay.
I did the steal.
Sorry,
That's
that's
good. That's a good one.
Okay. If I remember that Washington game correctly, Josh Butler had a big game. That was his breakout game.
Led the team in tackles.
Let's just say Wanye Thomas has a really good game and maybe has an interception or does something that stands out.
Like that.
There you go.
We listen and we don't judge. Going that way.
All right. Well, since we were just talking about tight ends, I'm going to say
Okay.
that Brevin Spanford has a very productive game. His best as a Dallas Cowboy, and he sets the tone for what is hopefully to come for him in the offseason and next year.
I like that.
One of the highest paid undrafted free agents in the NFL coming out of the draft. Cowboys do have expectations for him, so this would be a good game for him to.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
We listen and we don't judge.
Go, Kristen.
I think Brandon Aubrey is going to be from 68 yards. The ball's going to be directly at midfield, right in the middle of the star logo at the 50-yard line, which means it's 8 yards back on the snap, plus 10 yards for the end zone, so a 68-yarder to set a record.
He's gonna do it.
I like that.
It's going to happen.
You might as well do it to finish the season. Just do it. He can do it. You're gonna be indoors.
I was
you
gonna
can
say,
set
you're
the,
indoors.
You set the tone.
Yeah, hey, I say if it's second down and you're at the 50, do it.
You just want him to do it.
But y'all know what's crazy? He has spoiled us because I was watching. I'm telling you, I was watching a college game. They got past the 50. I was like, y'all punting? Like they got stopped,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, whoa, Aisha, you're talking real privilege right now. Whoa.
And look at with the Eagles with Jake Elliott. I mean, there's some of these NFL teams going into the playoffs
He's
that have
special. He's
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
He's special.
We're
We are
spoiled.
very
Y'all
blessed.
wish you had a butter.
What you got?
Sorry.
I actually kind of like that.
All right, we ready?
We listen and we don't judge.
What?
I say Trey Lance is going to throw.
Oh.
I'm going to say either the first or second drive of the game. A 35-yard catch and run of Kevontae Turpin for a touchdown.
Bro, if
that.
that happens, I'm officially saying you have the script. I'm officially
I mean, and
I wrote it.
you have the NFL script.
Washington like to play single high. There's not that many people in the NFL that I
That'd be
think are
fun.
fast enough to deal with Kevontae Turpin one-on-one on the open field, and I think he can do it. So, yeah.
I'm claiming it.
I like that. And
All right.
Yeah. And McCarthy
Timestamp
said
that.
he's the
Mark
most
it.
fluid athlete, that Turpin's the most fluid athlete he's coached.
Amazing.
It's the gymnastics background.
Probably.
All right,
And
ladies,
I'm
well,
not
this has been
joking.
fun. Cowboys Commanders kick off at 12 noon on Sunday. Be there or be square, because if you're not, well, that sucks. So, sorry to say sorry. For Aisha Morrison, Justin Vargas, Christy Scales, I'm Nicole Hutchison, and we'll be back here. Oh, next week we start our off-season schedule.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
We'll see you on Tuesday next week.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?